Well, if you've been around a Georgia fan today, you probably have seen a frown or a little bit of a scorned face after last night's Georgia loss to Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl 39-34. It is never fun to lose, that is for sure, and especially if you believe your team has a good chance of going all the way, as most Georgia fans did believe. Now, we can look at this game through red and black glasses and be upset at the fact that Georgia lost, but do not let it get lost in the story of how well Ole Miss played. That should not be buried here because that is the lead. Ole Miss outplayed Georgia, outcoached Georgia, and they had the best player on the field last night with Trinidad Chambliss, who was simply magnificent, really. He is really Ole Miss's version of Stetson Bennett, if you think about it. He played at a lower level of college football, came up to Ole Miss to be a backup, got the opportunity, and now look at him. They're 2 wins away from a national championship with Ole Miss. That's something we never thought we would really say. Look, I know it's easy to blame somebody for a loss, and coaches in college football get paid a lot of money. And they're not immune to criticism or blame for a loss, even if they're a two-time defending national championship coach. Not defending, but you know Georgia has won 2 national championships under Kirby in 10 years, so he's going to get a lot of leeway. But I really believe the 2 losses Georgia had in 2025 and into 2026 were because of Kirby Smart. Go back to that game against Alabama in September. They had come back after Alabama got a big lead. They were knocking on the door to try to take the lead. They were 4th down, and they could have kicked a field goal with about 12 minutes left to go to tie the game. And instead, they went for it on 4th down in a very bad play call with Cash Jones, and they got stopped. If they had kicked the field goal instead to tie the game, they would have had 12 minutes to keep Alabama off the field, off the scoreboard, and then come back to win the game on their home turf. Well, they didn't do that. They decided to go for it, to try to win and get the lead then, and it was the wrong move. They made a mistake. Kirby took up for it because you know what? That's what a coach is going to do. And then last night, in the 4th quarter, on the last drive, they were 3rd and goal from the 6, and they decided to pass the ball with a bad play call, trying to get Oscar Delp in the back of the end zone, and it was the wrong call. The reason it was the wrong call is even if they had run the ball and still not scored the touchdown, the clock would have run down more to give Ole Miss less time after a game-tying field goal, which happened, to come back down the field to try to get in position to get a field goal to win the game. Well, they left too much time on the clock because they did pass the ball, which stopped the clock compared to running the ball, which would have allowed the clock to go on. And then after the field goal that tied the game at 34, Ole Miss came down the field. They had 51 seconds left. Chambliss did his job, and they won the game on a field goal. And then, of course, safety at the very end. So we all love Kirby. Kirby's the best coach Georgia's ever had. He's had an unbelievable 10 years, but this year he's had 2 bad games. One of them being last night in New Orleans.